Spotify Premium lets you listen to your favorite music without ads, so you can keep the energy going all day long. Don't miss out on 3 months free. Cancel anytime. Tap the banner to learn more.
and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the EOS One group draw. I am Rabbit Panda. I am joined today by Vizor and Timsy. First off, let me just introduce what we're going to be doing here today. We're going to be going over the format of the tournament. Then we will draw the groups. We'll explain a bit more about that in a second. But first, I'll invite Timsy here to tell us a bit about how the pods were determined exactly, so that everyone's on the same page and that everyone knows how exactly this happened.
Hello. Anyway, quick one, Rabbit. Before you're running the stream,
Off.
so you need to turn the music down or off.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to.
Your mic is very quiet compared, so they didn't actually hear a word about what you just said.
Oh, fantastic! I clicked to mute the music. I don't know why I didn't. Well, I'll run through it again. We are gonna draw the groups today. We're gonna explain the format, and I said I'm going to invite Timsy to explain how exactly we got the pots and everything decided.
Yeah. Basically, the pots were decided. We did a big meeting. Because things are changing here at the TSC, and we're making decisions together now. Top tier, but basically the pots were decided based on positions in split 1 and split 2, or for the what they were placed in split 2, whilst also taking into consideration any team changes made, and obviously the points, because we have that point system that people are aware of, that point system being taken into place. I am terrible at speaking. This is why I don't do this. I'm usually in the background.
Yeah, so we largely took a look at the points every team had using the old system that we made, as well as the results from Split 1 and what has been played so far. To look through it, Pot 1 contains last Splits champion CBS, Support Div, Peg, Krusty Crew. Moving into Pot 2, it contains McDonald's Freedom Fighters and Placeholder, who were there last split, as well as two new teams who joined for Split 2, Seven Deadly Sins and SBMT. And finally, Pot 3 features Troglodytes, who were there with us in Split 1 already, and three other teams, Minion Genocide, Adaptive, and Lost to Boris. But let's get into the format a bit. I will quickly explain exactly how this will go. As all of you can see on the... Oh, yes, Timsy?
Quick one. Do you have access to the administration side? Oh wait, you have got this thing on screen. I forgot you have the little graph thing.
Yes.
I forgot you did the great setup, you and Lipsy.
Thank you. So, to explain how this is going to go, we are going to have two groups of 6, so two teams from each pot into two groups. The top 3 will move on into the playoffs in the upper group. As you can see here, the playoffs are a 16 playoff with a loser's bracket, where second and third will play each other, and the winner of that match will move on to face the first seeds. While in the losers bracket, it's just the standard losers bracket with the losers moving down. As you can see there, B2 and A2 are listed as separate matches. What we'll do is we will determine the results of the matches so far in the tournament to decide which team essentially skips the round. Eventually, we will move on to the grand final, which is going to be a best of 5, while the rest of the playoffs will be a best of 3. Now, if you do finish bottom 3, though, you don't have to worry. Your season isn't over. You are pretty much moving on to an identical bracket. It's just the lower group bracket playing for 7th to 12th place, essentially. Same setup as before. 5th and 6th play each other, and the winner will move on to face the 4th seed from the group. I hope everything is clear. If there are any questions, the production team, the staff, whoever will answer them in the Discord if you have them. You just either type it in general discussions, suggestions, open a ticket, just contact us if there's anything you need to know. But yes, I believe we can get into the draw now. For the draw, I'd like to welcome Visor to the group as well here. Hello, Visor.
Hello, everyone. How are we doing? I'm always excited for group draws. I love these things.
Well, hopefully today will be just as exciting as. Let's take a look here. We have the pot one teams are already in. So as I said, to explain how this will go, to explain the procedure, we're just going to spin the wheel. We will get a team on the wheel, and they will go into their respective groups. So the first team picked will go into Group A, the second one to Group B, and the third one once again into Group A, with the fourth one going to Group B. And we will.
Before we begin, what sort of let me quickly add a thing. What sort of groups would we like to see? Like, who do we want to see playing against each other? You know.
I mean, ideally, it'd be sort of like the strongest two teams. So, what would it be? So, like, CBS is probably the strongest team in the tournament. It would then be followed by either Support Diff or Krusty Crew, maybe. Just having them in sort of like two different brackets with like the third and fourth. You kind of want it identical to like the rankings that you have. So like first place, third place, fifth place, seventh place, etc. all on one side of the bracket. But we'll see how it works out. Because obviously you want the strongest possible competition, but it would also be nice to see some rivalries in there.
Personally speaking, I'd like to see my boys troglodyte. Well, not boys, because we are actually predominantly female. But I'd like to see it.
Women can be part of the boys.
I'd like to see I'd like to see the troglodyte army, haha, going against CBS. Personally, we missed it in the end of split one, and I want to see it happen personally.
Who would you? Is there anyone you're looking at pot 2 and 3 that you think could really surprise and maybe even win the group or make it to the top half of the bracket?
I mean, we haven't seen like SB Meme Team too much because they joined in Split 2, and we haven't seen Seven Deadly Sins yet, so I'm not too sure on their capabilities. But I know that both McDonald Freedom Fighters as well as Placeholder can sort of like bring some upsets around. So there are always teams to watch, no matter what group they slot into. And yeah, I think they're the two that I'm looking out for. But it'd be interesting to see how the two newest teams actually stack up against the rest of the competition.
Yeah, it should be exciting.
Without sending a bias towards obviously the troglodytes, I actually think Adaptive will do quite well. They've performed quite well in the matches that I've seen scrim-wise, because they have been scrimming recently. And I've also seen a few, obviously, of their games they've played in Clash, for example. And I think they're going to surprise a lot of people.
Sort of like a dark horse team to look out for.
Yeah, I'd say Adaptive are definitely the dark horse here.
Yeah. Well,
I can't comment on MG Sprooper because I've not seen too much from MG.
Well, hey, maybe they'll actually be the surprise, but let's get into the draw. Let's see what the first team we get is, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this one will be going into Group A, and it is going to be Peg.
Oh, it's going to be Premium Esports.
Yeah, heading.
That's a third place team from the last split. I think it'd be arguably like the weakest of the Pool 1 teams, maybe. Just because we know that sort of like CBS and Support Diff finished first in last split. We know that the Krusty Crew are the highest elo team that we've got here in the tournament, at least stats-wise, but they're definitely sort of like a very, very strong opponent, can definitely bring upsets. They're the team that sort of like plays quite heavily through bot laner with their star AD carry sort of like Moonshade, who was the third MVP of last split, so they're definitely a threat, definitely a tough team to be going up against in Group A.
Definitely. Peg are definitely tough. I would agree with the point that probably out of the whole of pot 1, probably is one of the weaker teams in pot 1.
Yeah,
Um,
however, there isn't really an easy draw, I'd say, in pot one.
No, pot one is kind of they're all very
There's a reason they're pot one, shall we say.
Yeah, they're all quite stacked teams. They're all very tough for everyone else in the tournament.
Let's take a look at who will move on into Group B. As the wheel spins,
God, I love spinning wheels.
it is
Support diff.
Support Diff going to be moving on into the first team in Group B. Second place finish last split, very good for them. Maybe they can repeat it.
I think it's going to be really cool as well, just to see. I mean, this also puts CBS and Krusty Crew on opposite sides of the bracket as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, because the team that's drawn next gets Group A, while sorry, not Krusty Crew, while the other team gets Group B. We haven't rigged this, but now if CBS gets drawn to Group A, it's definitely gonna look like it. Just because I accidentally said that. Well, let's see if the rigging worked or not.
well, look even more rigged if we end up we as in troglodytes end up getting in the same group as
Oh
CB.
god, it's CBS in Group A.
Oh no!
It is
Oh,
rigged.
I
Oh,
swear
no.
this isn't rigged.
It's rigged. Don't trust the narrative. So yeah, that puts CBS into Group A, and it'll put Krusty Crew into Group B. So that's going to be. I mean, I guess the what was it? But it's the first and third ranked team from last split going into Group A, and in Group B it's the second place team from Split 1 and the sort of like higher elo newcomers as well. But they've had like really impressive performances from what we've been able to see from the end of Split 1 on Split 2, at Krusty Crew that is.
As I'm gonna bring up the screen for group so far while I quickly set up everything for the second pot. Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. We're talking about Krusty Crew and CBS being on opposite sides of the bracket, but the top two teams are also on the opposite sides.
I'm personally right. I know only like one pot has been drawn so far, but I'm already looking forward to Krusty Crew and SPD. I think that would be a very strong match and a very fun series to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a banger. It also kind of worked out similar to how I said how I like to see the teams go. Sort of like with my own personal ranking, I think you've got sort of like ideally the two strongest groups, pot one wise, where you've got Krusty Crew and Support Diff on one side and Premium Esports and CBS on the other, rather than a mix of either Support Diff and Peg on one side of the bracket and Krusty Crew and CBS on the other, that sort of thing. I think this worked out where, like, if you was to overall rank the teams points wise, I think both Group A and Group B are quite even in their strengths.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Also, one of these four teams will finish. Will likely finish second or third. Now, honestly, they could theoretically drop to 4th, 5th, 6th even, and that would make an exciting matchup in round one of the playoffs if one of these teams could theoretically just drop out of the entire championship so early.
I mean, we've got some pretty good teams in pot two anyway. These are teams that can sort of like definitely contest the pot one teams in strength. Like I said, in terms of placeholder and McDonald's Freedom Fighters, they are definitely very strong teams themselves, respectively, and they're a threat for anyone in the tournament. I'm not too sure about the others because we haven't seen too much of them, but I mean they're in pot two for a reason, and I'd be I'm excited to see what they can actually do, what impact they can have.
Well, obviously we've seen MFF and PhD before, but both SB Meme Team and Seven Deadly Sins is uncharted territory for us. They're both new teams to the Sunday Cup as a whole, and I'm looking for whatever group they get put into. I'm looking forward to seeing how those two teams in particular play.
Yeah, as we have everything ready for the pot 2 draw. So first, let's take a look at what team is going to join CBS and PEG in Group A first. Are we going to see one of the new teams here is the question, or are we going to see one of the returning teams? It's going to be one of the
Looks like it's going to be McDonald's.
It is. MFF will move into Group A with CBS and PEG.
Well, they're going to get their match up against CBS and try and get revenge on them. as well as I guess just sort of. Well, what was it last? I think they dropped games to both teams last split as well. I think they lost their series against both teams. So,
believe so.
but it was a 2-1 loss against Premium Esports Gaming, and they got 2-0'd by CBS. So I know that they're definitely going to be out for revenge, looking to right those losses as well.
And the mid laner is a former CBS member. Actually, he was our emergency sub in Split 1. He played 2 series, and now he's on MFF as a starter.
Yeah, the team's definitely got stronger from last split. I'm quite interested to see how they're going to fare in Group A. With the team leveling up in a sense, they definitely look stronger than what they did in Split 1. So it'll be interesting to see how they do, because again, it's always going to be a team that's a threat to anyone.
Yeah. Let's continue with the second Pot 2 team. This team is going to be going into Group B here.
I'm not going to lie, when MFF came out, I was going to make a joke about a Big Mac, but...
Those jokes are always open.
It is
an SB meme team.
Yeah. Looks like SPD is just getting a bunch of the newer teams. Looks like they're going to act as a sort of benchmark for them.
Yeah, they've got the Krusty Crew, which played towards the end of Split 1, and then in Split 2, obviously, and now they've got SB Meme Team, which is the Split 2 joiners. So you've got the Split 1 teams in Group A, and for the most part, you've got Split 2 teams in Group B. So it'd be interesting to see how they measure up their strength, because we haven't seen too many inter-split matchups.
Obviously, as Krusty Crew may have joined at the end to replace our love Anna, but Seabay, who is the captain of Krusty Crew, obviously was on the Troglodyte squad, and I must say he is a very determined player in one. And so if all the Krusty Crew team members follow that mantra, which it's a very scary squad. As someone who's played with Seabay very close to, but yeah, it's a scary. It will be a scary squad.
Well, let's see the final draw. Who's going to be the team going into Group A from Pot 2?
It's either going to be a sort of like, I don't know, legacy team from Split 1 or a brand new one, so see how they match up.
It's going to be a new one, it looks like. It's going to be 7 Deadly Sins.
That'd be the first new team into Group A as well, because the rest of them have all been from Split 1 as well. So that's the first new team into Group A. So one of the interesting things there would be to see how they match up against the teams that have already been in the tournament, kind of place their strength coming in, because obviously we haven't seen them play before. So we'll see what they can actually do in this tournament, how well they stack up to sort of like previous teams. And then we got placeholder in Group B, which is goes in alongside support diff. Yeah,
support diff.
As well. In Group A, I think it's going to play out much as how we kind of expect. I think that the playing for second place so far, by the look of it, judging by the strength that we've seen, is either going to be the McDonald's Freedom Fighters or Premium Esports Gaming, probably with CBS coming out as number 1 as our strongest team in the tournament. And then in Group B, I think it's actually going to be quite close between those 4 teams. I think that's going to be quite a good matchup to see these 4 teams go at it and see where they end up placing out after their first few games.
I'm personally kind of relieved that both of the new teams, as in SB Meme Team and 7 Deadly Sins, are in different groups. In my mind, that gives a higher opportunity for these new teams to actually show their potential, especially because of the potential. Well, not potential. The match will happen, but 7 Deadly Sins being able to show their worth against obviously the top seed from Split 1, CBS, and SB Meme Team will be able to show the case against SPD, who we know SPD and both CBS are very strong teams to play against.
Yeah.
So at least it will be able to they'll be able to prove themselves, you know.
I mean, yeah, they're our top 1 and 2 teams from last split as well, going undefeated until their eventual matchup towards the end of the split as well. So, yeah, definitely a challenge for all of the teams that sort of like get put up against them.
Yeah, Minion Genocide and Boar. Yeah, they're new from Split 2.
Adaptive as well are in Split 2. They were added then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the only team remaining from Split 1 is Troglodytes. We got 3 new teams.
and Peg.
Even if they've
We're talking about the pot 3. It's
Oh yeah,
Pot
pot 3. Yeah,
Yeah, Pot 3 in general. Yeah, Troglodytes are the only veterans.
well, we have pot 3 ready here for the draw. Let's see if Troglodytes can get into the quote-unquote legacy group A.
God.
Well, let's see
I
here.
want it to go Group A personally, as the captain of Trog. I want to see it.
Well, let's see if you get your wish. It doesn't look like it.
Oh,
It is Adaptive, going to be heading to Group A now.
I know Adaptive is one that, from what we've seen of them, have played well so far. I think that there is a bit of excitement around this team to see how well they're actually going to do. So, seeing them in Group A stacking up against, we've got teams that place first, third, and fifth from last split, as well as a new Pot 2 team. So it would be cool to see a match up.
Hey, if we get Troglodytes in Group A on the second draw, I think that's 1-3-4-5 from Split 1.
It is indeed, yeah.
Scared to go Group B, mainly because I don't want to play against CB. He knows my trait. He knows my whenever we have played together, he knows exactly how to tilt me. So that's terrifying to me.
Tilting people and mental warfare is half of what League of Legends is about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Adaptive, as Lipsy mentioned, Adaptive is kind of like a draw off from Aurora. So Adaptive, yes, okay, but they're still a new team, and I do see them as dark horses, and hopefully they can prove themselves in this group because there's some strong teams in this group. Peg and CBS, MFF are very good together. So it's quite a strong group, and Adaptive have a lot of opportunity to show themselves as the dark horse.
And now it is time to draw the penultimate team. And let's see who's going into Group B. 3 teams left here. Let's see.
I absolutely love watching this wheel spin. Oh, is it going to be Troglodytes?
It's Troglodytes.
It is
Oh no!
It's going to be Troglodytes in B.
Yep, Troglodytes heading to Group B. So no CBS matchup that you were looking for.
We'll meet you further in the tournament.
Well, the kind of competition that Troglodytes have so far, you're looking at Cross Crew, which is what we've mentioned before, is like the highest points team that we have. We've got Support Diff, who were second in the tournament. Placeholder have leveled up quite a bit between the splits, and are actually looking like a pretty strong contender. And from what we've seen from SB Meme team so far, is actually like a pretty decent team as well. There's a lot of strong opponents going up against. How do you think Troglodytes are actually going to fare going into these 4 teams?
Well, I know I've got to be careful what I'm saying because I know Mech or Biscuit is watching. We Troglodytes. We've got a lot of practicing to do. That's all I say. We got a lot of team training to do. Because at the moment, this group is a very strong group. The one thing I don't want to see personally is I don't want to. I know some of the players from MG just as players, and I don't want to see MG in this group personally.
Well, we'll see it on the next spin.
Oh. It's all down to the next spin. It's Lost to Boris and Minion Genocide are the final 2 teams. So
yeah,
let's see who's join.
So you want Minion Genocide drawn in this next spin, yeah?
Yeah, I want them into Group A. I don't want them in Group B.
We'll see how it goes.
I can't see the draw. It's blacked out.
It's even more exciting that way.
It's Lost to Boris are going to be heading into Group A.
So it is going to be MG into Group B alongside Troglodytes.
Mate, I don't like this. Can we have a redraw, please?
Sadly, I don't think we can. You're
clearly, from the moment
MG in your group.
Clearly, from the moment you said it, it was rigged.
Oh yeah.
I am honestly. Okay. Okay, troglodytes, if you're watching, we need to do some training.
Just win and it's fine, right?
Yeah, just win.
Just
As
win.
Korean advice.
Yeah, we can take a look at the final draw results. Group A will feature PEG, CBS, MFF, Seven Deadly Sins, Adaptive, and Lost to Boris. While Group B is going to feature Support Diff, Krusty Crew, SBMT, Placeholder, Troglodytes, and Minion Genocide.
Yeah, looking at these teams that are sort of like drawn, these are going to be very exciting groups. There's I could spend like all day sort of like ranking them as to where I'd expect them to be, but I don't think those rankings are actually going to play out because of how close some of these teams are actually in their strengths. Where a lot of these matches can definitely go either way. I think the two highlight matches to look out for in both groups that are sort of like determine it is probably going to be in Group B. It looks like it's going to be Placeholder taking on the top two teams to see where they place, because I think they can definitely challenge or definitely like top this group. I think Placeholder are going to be sort of like a team to watch to determine Group B of their strengths, and then Group A, I think it'll go to McDonald's Freedom Fighters, seeing if they can take games off of the top teams and place higher than third or fourth.
Yeah.
I wouldn't discount from looking at the players and what I've seen of SBMT. I wouldn't discount them from Group B.
We're just not too sure on their sort of like relative strengths, just because we haven't seen them play too much.
Yeah.
Just where they're a new team, but definitely like there's always teams that can come in and surprise, especially being an unknown quantity for a lot of these teams where they haven't played them, they haven't scrimmed them. They can always definitely shock and upset, and I mean they're in pool 2 for a reason, right?
Yeah.
It's because they're like one of the stronger teams in the tournament, so we'll definitely see how they do. But they're just the teams that I'm looking out for now, just to see if they can upset the top teams in the group and go in and with a stronger start into the bracket stage.
Well, what we can do if we want to, obviously we've got the two groups here. Technically, because we're using the tournament platform, the matches are technically already generated.
Ooh, we can do a reveal for.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, we
Oh,
can do
yeah.
a reveal for match day 1 actually.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to
That
do
isn't-
Would you like to do the honors, Timsy?
Well, actually, shit. Wait, what? What? I'll
What
give you a
is it?
screenshot. You can throw it on screen.
I was gonna just actually announce them because I think it would be more fun.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah.
So, right, I'll do the honors. Group A, game 1, week 1, game 1, day 1. I don't know. I don't know if we're doing weekly or daily games.
Now we're doing weekly, so it's week 1 technically. as well.
But Group A, round 1, we've got the first game, because this will be the first game of the entire tournament. We are being opened up with Peg versus Lost to Boris as the first game opener. We've got Peg versus Boris.
That's third place from last split up against one of the newcomers in split 2. So we'll see how they match up against Peg. We know that Peg was definitely a threat last split, definitely contesting everyone. Always a stronger team to go up against. They've also got the third place MVP in their team as well, Moonshade, as their AD carry. So
I'm looking forward to that. Should be a good opener for the entire thing. To be fair,
Yeah, it should be.
a tournament veteran, because obviously they're a veteran of the TSC in general, versus a newcomer. It's kind of a good, in my mind, it's a good opener. Then we've got in Group A round 1, match 2. We have. You ready for this? Are you ready?
I am.
Well,
Is it going to
we can see
be?
it, so.
I know
I
you
can't
can see it.
Oh,
It's on the tournament website actually, but
I'm waiting for it to come, and I'm expecting, based on your excitement, I'm expecting CBS versus McDonald's Freedom Fighters. Am I right?
no. You've
Oh.
got one team correct there.
It's going to be CBS against someone.
yeah.
CBS versus my dark horse, Adaptive.
Oh,
This is where I want Adaptive to prove themselves and prove me right as the dark horse, personally. And then round 1, match 3. Obviously, that leaves 2 teams remaining. That will be MFF versus 7 Deadly Sins.
That's going to be a really interesting matchup because they're both from the same pool. They're both pot 2. So
Yeah.
this is two teams that are around about the same strength, and it'll actually help
Mhm.
us determine which of these two teams are approximately the stronger ones out of the two, and it'll actually help shape the bracket quite a bit. Because with the way that the draws have gone so far, you've got two pot 1 teams playing against two pot 3 teams. So realistically, what you'd expect is premium esports gamers as well as CBS walking away the winners. And so to determine sort of like the middle of that bracket where we'd expect people, I think a lot of eyes are going to be on McDonald's Freedom Fighters against 7 Deadly Sins to see how that group's going to go.
Definitely. Right, who's ready for Group B's first round matchups?
I am.
Yeah. The first match is also another veteran versus a newcomer. Support Diff taking on Minion Genocide.
That'll be
So
interesting.
another top Sunday Cup team against a newcomer. This is
Yeah,
another one.
it's another pot 1 versus pot 3 matchup as well. So I think the expectation there is obviously on Support Diff to win that one. It is going to be a hard matchup for Minion Genocide, but as long as they can, if they're able to walk away with this from a win, it would be like a massive upset for Group B. So we'll see how they stack up against Support Diff.
Yeah, I want to see, as much as I love Sprooper with his Support Diff, Minion Genocide. I want to see them surprise and pull it out the bag. Mainly, I'm rooting for the underdogs here because
Yeah,
If they can
everyone
pull out
loves
a
the
win,
knock.
I mean, if they can pull out a win against Support Div, that would be huge.
that will be very huge. That will be another one to watch out for. And then we've got round. I don't want to say it. I actually don't want to say it, and you know why I do.
I'll say it for you. It's going to be Krusty Crew against Troglodytes in match 2 of round 1.
Again, it's another tough. That means that we've got similar things drawn. So it's going to be two pot 2 teams going against each other as the final ones, and then we've got pot 1 against pot 3 as well.
Yeah, with SBMT facing placeholder being the final match.
Yeah.
Well, Timsy, you said you wanted a challenge for your team, and I feel like facing
Yeah, I know.
Krusty Crew in round 1.
It's probably, as much as CBS are a very strong team, I'd say it would have been hard. It would be harder because CBA knows how we run in Troglodytes. So
I mean, we wanted challenge, but we didn't want it in round 1, guys. Come on.
I mean, saying that, our roles have swapped since the last time CBay played with us, so it might go differently. You're gonna have to like watch and see.
I mean, it'd be a cool match because we know that there's a bit of like rivalry there in a sense where you've got like an ex-team member on another team.
yeah. I
So
mean, we
it'd
have
be a cool one
played.
to watch.
We did play Krusty Crew last in Split 1 at the end of Split 1. However,
Scrim.
yeah, it was a scrim. Well, not scrim. We were supposed to be playing against Anna, and then Krusty Crew covered.
Ah.
It was one of those exhibition matches where even though we lost, we won. But we're getting we CBay played for us, and there's been a bit of controversy, I must say, within the Troglodyte squad regarding that match. So we want to get our revenge. Yeah, we definitely want to get our revenge against Krusty Crew.
And we will post the full schedule soon, but that is week 1 for everyone, and I hope you all enjoyed the draw, and I hope you're as excited as we all are here for EOS One, and that's it from me, and I believe Timsy and Visor, you two as well.
It is indeed. I'm very excited for this though. There's going to be a lot of cool games.
Yeah, there should be.
I am very very excited. Kind of terrified, but also excited.
Every game's
Um,
winnable, if you believe. Anyway, yes,
We've
ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for the draw today, and have a good day, and we'll see you all on the Rift.